evening, everyone. Welcome to Joe and Ro Talk Toastmasters, a podcast designed by Toastmasters for Toastmasters and friends and guests and anyone who's interested in communication and leadership. Season 2, Episode 4, Lead to Serve. And tonight we are having such a wonderful topic on leadership. It's not about the qualities of a great leader. It's not about what makes you a great leader or what breaks you as a leader. All these topics have been dealt with. And if you want to know more about leadership, go back and listen to our podcast, Joe and Ro Talk Toastmasters on YouTube as well as Spotify. But tonight, we have someone very special who will be having a conversation with me, your host, Joanne Jostrom from Palawa Toastmasters Club, with my co-host, Ron Billy Moria from Khargar Toastmasters Club. Now, she is very special to me. I'll tell you why. Because first of all, she's a she. And yes, I'm going to take it out and point out the fact that we have a woman, a female Toastmaster, a seasoned leader. And I'm too proud about this because from the day we started this podcast, I have been telling to my co host, Ron, we need to bring women leaders into the podcast. We have them. There's no dearth of women leaders in Toastmasters. But for some reason, till date, we couldn't find the time or match the schedule with these leaders. So tonight, I'm extremely excited to have none other than Toastmaster Sunita Vinod, the current Program Quality Director, District 98 Toastmaster International with us, who will be having a three-way conversation on this podcast on the topic, navigating leadership, thriving in diversity and adversity. Wow, a mouthful topic, but something very interesting to look forward to and lots of lessons to be learned. But before we start the topic, let me introduce Sunita. Now, for all those you know she's this cheerful, bubbly, very eloquent speaker. On stage, off stage, I'm a fan of this person. I'm not kidding this. The way she speaks, the poise and the professionalism is something that I look up to and aspire to, get there someday. But apart from what she portrays on stage and her beautiful persona, a little bit introduction. She has nearly 2 decades media experience. She started as a copywriter, then moved on to scripts, radio, to producing shows. She has been in the print, radio, television, and digital arena, and she is currently pitching new artist music to digital service providers. She says she loves to write, she lives for movies, breathes music, and is a passionate dancer. So, you know what's special today? We have an artistic leader amongst us. Now, that's a rarity. We have a lot of Toastmasters who are CEOs, who are go-getters, and who are leaders. But tonight, we have someone who's an artist and a leader. So I'm looking forward to that difference in the lessons and insights that we're going to get in the show. She has worked with radio production houses, moving on to famous channel We, Red FM, Eros International, so on and so forth. She says Toastmasters was a journey that she started just to try out, but then stayed on for various reasons. What are these reasons? We'll get to that in the podcast. I'm not going to give you that as the introduction. She's going to talk about leadership, and she has the credibility to do so. Starting off as secretary, president, BPPR, and all these XCOM roles, she has also taken the roles of area director, division D director, DAM, and she's currently, once again, the program quality director of District 98, Toastmasters International. Before I move on to Sunita and start the conversation, let me go to Ron. Ron is a veteran. He has been here for 11 years, so I'm sure he has some insights and stories about Toastmasters Sunita. Over to you, Ron. What do you think is going to happen today?
Yeah, hi, Joan. Thanks. First of all, Sunita, welcome and thank you for doing this. Really appreciate you being here. I admire Sunita on stage and I've seen her speak many times, but I don't know her too well personally, which I hopefully will be corrected soon. But what excites me about today's episode is that and this is what we had discussed with Sunita when we were planning this episode also, that in Toastmasters, we get to have to deal with a lot of different types of people from different walks of life, different fields, different backgrounds. And Sunita comes from a media background, which means she has experience dealing with a lot of different personalities, mercurial personalities, even, big egos, maybe, and different things. So I'm sure she will tell us very interesting stories about that. So for us, it is very interesting to learn from her how we deal with different kinds of people. Because for some leaders, they get flustered when they come across somebody that they cannot understand, or if somebody is behaving badly, they don't know how to deal with it because in their workspace, they don't get exposed to this kind of this kind of environment. And Toastmasters, there is no gate as such. Anybody can join Toastmasters, join the club, join the leadership, become part of the team, and everybody has to get along with everybody. We don't have any choice. So this will be interesting to learn from Sunita about ideas, strategies, tips on how to get along with different diverse kind of people, and also people who are kind of, let's say, let's call it adversity. Yes. So looking forward to this. Yeah.
I love the Toastmaster lingo, right? Directly, just call it adversity. No labels, no egos, no talking about who or why. I love this. Thank you, Ron. And so true. We are going to learn something new today in Toastmasters, how to navigate people. Because end of the day, we are humans. Whatever skills we learn in leadership or communication is of no use unless you know how to manage people. And we are going to talk to an expert about that. So, coming to you, Sunita, before we go into the expert knowledge that you have and the insights that you can give us, tell us, when did you exactly join Toastmasters and what inspired you to join Toastmasters?
Good evening, everyone. I heard so many nice things about me. Now I have to live up to it. The pressure is on. So I joined in 2018. That's when I joined Toastmasters. And this was a gentleman called James Abraham who had joined our parish, our church. He asked me if you've ever heard about Toastmasters. And I was typically like how we think that it's about raising toast at weddings, because that usually happens at a Christian wedding. So I thought it was something like that. And then he showed me some videos and I had a look at it and I was like, okay, chalo, let's see what we can do. We spoke to a priest. We had a church space, which was given to us for free as venue. We would have it after Mass over there. At first, there were a lot of parishioners who joined in. Then we started exploring and then we moved to a school. And now we are a full-fledged community club with less members from church, but more from around colleges and retired folks and homemakers, everyone. So I guess for me, joining Toastmasters for me, I had no stage fright. Like I have always been on stage. I love stage because I think it's easier for me to face an audience than be in the audience. That scares me. So I am an introvert like that, but I would rather face the audience than be in them. So I didn't have any fear, but I could not understand why some people would have fear in even introducing themselves. So I thought I have some ability and some talent. So I think I should give that to the ones who don't and see how I can help them to just at least have a basic conversation. Forget about getting up on stage. So my mere idea was to let's just see what this is. Let's just find out what kind of people come in and how I can help. Because I rather would give what I know to others than, sit there wondering what I could have done. So my whole aim was to just get a few people comfortable, I think, to just speak.
Wow. So then you're perfect here because our season 2 is all about lead to serve. And you started Toastmasters with the intention of serving rather than becoming a great communicator, a great leader. And I'm sure you must have been both even before joining Toastmasters. But then in Toastmasters, of course, today you are at like the epic leadership role of PQD, and you have proven yourself again and again with credibility that you are really good at what you do. So both in Toastmasters and outside Toastmasters. Sunita, what is your leadership philosophy? There must be, right? After so many years being a leader in and out of Toastmasters, I'm sure you must have some value, some philosophy behind your leadership style. Can you enlighten us a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I want to
Ron,
add to
yes?
that question. One more thing is, after coming to Toastmasters, has your leadership style changed, even if in very little bit? But has it changed? Has something changed in your leadership, how you approach because of Toastmasters?
Two questions,
Okay,
please.
I'll take both the questions. So, like in my introduction, you mentioned I'm a passionate dancer. I see everything from the stage view. So, for me, leadership is uh, it's like a group dance. I'm part of a group dance where I am center stage. I also have the uh, onus of choreographing the whole act. Okay. And my success as a leader is when the audience applaud for all of us. That means we need to be in sync. We need to be synchronized. And that happens only with practice. At the same time, I think in a dance group, you often have people who are some who are non-dancers, but they still want to be on stage. And then, as a leader, as a choreographer, it's my job to make sure I create a kind of 1 minute dance in form where they can just come, pivot, and go and feel like a dancer, yet they are part of the entire group. Whereas choreograph an intricate bit for the experienced one, and probably myself take a little solo performance in between whenever it is required, so that we, at the end of it, we look like a team who has different styles, but yet we blend in because we're doing it together. So my leadership philosophy is always to get that applause, but get it as a team, never alone. I don't think I can lead if I don't have anyone to lead and if people don't want to be led by me. So that doesn't work for me. I think the second question, where what how joining Toastmasters have changed me, I would rather say that two things happened to me which changed me completely. I'm genuinely a very sarcastic person. If you have seen me on WhatsApp, even my pseudonym is Cactus. My in my family, my husband and my brother-in-law would call me Tochita, somebody who gives always tochen. So my name was Tochita. My friends called me Cactus because every time I spoke, I stung. So it was like that. So I think my reason for joining Toastmasters was to probably mellow down, also to understand, because I'm also a psychology student, so I love people. So I want to be there for them. But I think somewhere my personality was, overpowering my desire to be helpful, perhaps. So I guess joining Toastmasters helped me to mellow myself down. And to add to it, motherhood happened to me. So when you have a baby who's constantly crying, you can't understand, but you have to always be patient, always try to understand, always want the good for someone who can't talk or converse. I think all of that put together gave me that need to become a better person. And Toastmasters really helped. I think I'm in love with the IRSA value. I think it's the best that they could have come up with. And I know a lot of people love to call it rice, but I'm sure in 99 years, they figured they could have called it rice. But I think integrity is very important. And that should still stay as IRSC. That's my opinion. But yeah, I think all of this helped me to become a better person.
I love the dance metaphor, by the way. It's very very apt. I mean, of course, it's what you do, but if I had to ask you to give a metaphor of how to lead a group, a dance troupe would be a very apt metaphor. So I think organically only you have come up with a very interesting kind of idea, and I can understand how different people with different talents and different skill levels in a dance group, you have to make sure that they all uh, come across the stage in the same uniform manner or whatever your choreography and
Yeah.
follow the path. I think that's a very good metaphor for what we also do in our club meetings, in our special events, etc. Yeah, so that's pretty good. So uh, very interesting, very interesting. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, so I was going to say that only. That's an artistic leader, right? Even the metaphors are about dances. And I love the fact that you spoke about motherhood. Never thought about motherhood. I think is one of the greatest lessons of communication, because, as you said, the baby can't communicate. So you have to communicate, understand, reason, and do everything on your own. Thank you so much for bringing that. One point to all women and all mothers out there. You guys are naturally good communicators. But coming to this fact that you said you're a sarcastic person and you sting. I love that point you brought out, because many people think that all great leaders need to be polite, need to know how to talk and convince people. I also come from that background because I'm also a sarcastic person, and unknowingly I sting. I don't even do that knowingly. And that is a huge roadblock as a leader. Because as a leader, if you offend people, they are not ready to then be with you and work with you. So you said you changed. Can you give us an example of how you changed and how Toastmasters helped you to change? Now your stings don't sting anymore. probably they are more like honey. I don't know. I'm not sure. But how did that change happen? Can you give us an example in Toastmasters?
So now I first make them my friend and then I sting. So it doesn't sting them anymore. So
Okay.
initially I would sting even a stranger. I don't care. But now I take them into confidence. I see, I think at the end of it, we are all people, right? And we all come with a bag of emotions. Um, it's very important for us to first understand each other, where we are coming from, and to accept the fact that we are all different bunch of personalities. Just accept that. And I think for me, a very big lesson was I know myself. I know my limitations. I know I don't like this, and I know I like this. But I try to make it work, and I also give the opposite person a chance to fail, rise, complain, crib, and also reach their success. So if I can do that, and if I can give that comfort, I know that person will also do that same for me. So I don't think I've left see, being sarcastic and witty. It's two different things. Some people take offense, and when you're trying to be witty, they think you're being sarcastic. So it's a very thin line. So I would say either ways, people get offended, whether you're doing good or bad. So I think it's very important who are you talking to. And I value relationships. I will go back and fix it if it's that valuable. So I know if I've hurt somebody, I'll go and fix it if it is worth it. If it's worth saving, I'm going to go fix it. If not, I think some people have that attitude. You just have to let it be. I think I think you just have to sleep it off, shake it off, come back the other day. I think I heard from Ron last time when he was saying, he doesn't have any three-strike rule. I also don't believe in that, but I think sometimes you have to just let go of people. Don't try to always catch them. So I think I'm pretty good in. First, I think it's very important as a leader to know yourself. Then only you can accommodate others. I think yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no, I'll tell you, first of all, thank you for being honest and telling us honestly that it's not always going to work out. And it's not always going to be that even if you're polite, it's going to work. So, this is a really important lesson for everyone out there who's listening to this podcast, I feel. Honestly, leadership, you cannot please every single person. This is the first lesson you need to know. There are going to be times when what you do, people will like it. And simultaneously, there will be people who may not like it. So know yourself. That's what Sunita says. First thing, and then go back and fix relationships if it's worth the task. If not, also learn the art of letting go. Because otherwise, you will always be in that vicious circle of trying to please every single person, which is not going to work. Thank you so much. That was such an interesting and important and honest lesson that mostly people don't give you in education sessions, right? That honest lesson of, yes, sometimes it won't work and you have to let go. What do you think, Ron? You have also been
Yeah.
a leader, and I know you're also a sarcastic, witty personality. Is Sunita right? Have you also let go of some relationships and some teams at times?
Yeah, so I am also very similar to Sunita, as in I have a lot of sarcasm, and sometimes it really comes out badly on some people. So even I had to learn the same lessons which she had, to kind of tone it down, to see who's in front of you, open your mouth carefully, so that there are some lot of fragile egos. You talk about motherhood, there are a lot of big babies in every club. You have to be careful about those people also. And yes, I think one of the mistakes I see new leaders who join the club excoms and come up is they try to make everybody happy. Somewhere they get this idea that leadership is about making everybody happy. If everybody is happy, then the club will run well. And then they slowly go through a transition where they have to say, they realize that to make an omelette you do have to break a few eggs, along the way. So yeah, that's exactly what Sunita has been is saying. You can't please everybody, and you have certain objectives as a leader. You have certain goals as a leader, and you have to get them done. And along the way, certain people will not come along with you. You just have to accept that.
Wow. Classic Ron, always coming up with some witty line to make an omelet, you have to break some eggs. I think this is something all leaders in Toastmasters as well as outside need to keep in your mind. Objective is it's all about, I think, the bigger picture, right? Not single individual relationships. Sunita, let me ask you this question directly. We are going to talk about diversity and adversity. And you did touch upon that we all are different and we have different personalities. So is this your philosophy? Know the personality, keep the relationship which will work and let go? Or how do you actually manage this diverse personality? In Toastmasters, especially, you have a diverse age group, diverse background, race, ethnicity, culture, diverse education qualifications. So I think this is the most diverse group you can get, which you have to lead, right? Unlike a corporate sector, unlike a professional sector, where you have what do you say, closed set, but this is like a very open. So how do you manage diversity? What is your mantra for managing this diversity?
So, like you mentioned in office, you have a closed set. It's not only closed set, it's also you have similar background and similar caliber. So it's easier to connect with them, talk to them because you know what you're explaining to them. But I haven't found any place like Toastmasters where in you have 1 year, okay, 365 days is what you have, and then you either promoted or you leave altogether. You learn, you take your skills and move on with your life. But in that 1 year, the learnings that you get is plenty. Because, like you said, age groups, there are retired gentlemen and women and homemakers where sometimes, see, I'm a working woman, but I know sometimes how these, homemakers feel. Sometimes they feel like, acha, we don't know how to have a hold on to a intelligent conversation, so they don't look good, look down upon us. But having Toastmasters club everywhere, and at least in our club, we have a lot of homemakers, we have a lot of retired folks, uh, and the kind of atmosphere that is built in there is amazing. We also have kids, students. For me, it has really helped because I have a teenager at home as well as a 10-year-old. And I have learned so much from these NMIMS kids and everybody, those shortcuts and abbreviations and, cool. So when he mentions, I know what it is. If he says AFK, I'm like, I know it's away from keys. So for me, for my learnings in this group is so much. And as far as I don't think there's any other place like Toastmasters. I mean, come to think of it, um, and at the end of it, what is happening? Like even an XCOM is leader, right? They are leaders of the club. Now over there, a president probably must have never led, but now he is in a leading position. And the only way he can do that if the other XCOMs are going to support. Otherwise, it's impossible. Here we have a VPPR who probably have never designed, never, don't know what to do. But there are supportive members, there are supportive XCOMs. The previous XCOM or the previous VPPR comes in, teaches them. I think the amount of skills that we end up learning here, because we all are from different backgrounds, is, I mean, something that we can't even quantify, we can't count. I mean, I have learned how to make designs, I have learned how to make posters. I've never done that. And the way now you can communicate and the way we end up, like if somebody now calls you on stage, okay, just address the crowd, you know how to do it. And you keep in mind somebody that you've seen, like if I'm some of the Toastmasters that you've seen, that how they speak. So I think this diversity that we have inside here is just something that we all need to be proud of and be happy about. And the kind of things that we can all learn is just tremendous. I mean, I'm not sure if I got around to the question or did I
No,
digress?
let's flip it a little bit. What are the issues that diversity causes in your experience, and how do you usually address them?
Okay. So there have been times like I would rather, uh, when I was division director itself, I had a problem, but that had to be addressed. So it's probably first day in the office, and I had a problem with one of the officers and there was a communication error, a huge communication error that was happening, and it was just not moving anyway, being the first day itself. And I'm not a quitter, and I don't like to quit, and I don't like to make people quit, because I think we learn best when we are pushed. That is when we learn the best. But I also reached in a spot where I had to take a stand. I knew it was being whatever was happening was wrong. The kind of communication that was happening was wrong because I had three other officers who were looking up to me because I'm not only leading this one person, I'm leading four. So I had to set an example that somewhere we need to draw the line, somewhere it has to be mentioned, even if it is day one, that this is acceptable and this is not acceptable. Now let's figure out how we're going to work ahead. So this happens because, see, like I said, in Toastmasters, we don't know where we're coming from, what our background is, whether we are CEOs or whether we are just managers or whether we are just assistant managers. So I think Arvind's beautiful line is always leave your designation outside the door when you walk into the meeting, right? Which is not practiced by many. So when they become leaders, when they have the tag of area directors, division directors, they come in with the designations that they hold in their office space also. So it's very difficult for them to then follow you or listen to what your idea is. So this had happened to me in Toastmasters itself at work, so that has to be handled completely differently in a media setup. But yeah, here I think it's two thing. I mean, it's a two-way thing. You have to also make sure that that person is also working along, but you also draw the line, very clear line, and let the other three also know that, this is how it's going to function and this is how we will be functioning for the rest of the term, even if it is day one.
So one of the diversity I'm seeing is that somebody comes with preconceived notions into your team,
Yes,
and maybe they are senior and they have more experience than you, and they feel that you are not the right person to lead or you don't have the experience. So, and of course, they are natural leaders. They feel they're natural leaders. They come. So
yes,
that's one kind of diversity you have to deal with, and
yes,
also comes with an ego packed in, right?
yes,
What other types of diversities do you see that you have to deal with? Of course, you mentioned one which is housewives. They might come in with low confidence, and you have to try to
yes,
get them to take up new roles and new opportunities. What
yes.
other diversities do you recall that you might come across in a club or in a district or a division?
I think sometimes it happens with college kids also. They
Okay,
don't like to, they don't like to, for them, everything has to happen like this. Like if I say yes, it has to happen now. And we are all, we take our time. We want to first understand the whole thing. We want to explain to them. I think a lot of kids now, they don't want mentor aside. They are
okay,
like, I know how to write speech. It's a 7-minute speech. I know what to do.
okay.
So I probably must have gotten only one or two speech mentored. After that, my mentee thinks that, he or she knows everything. And you don't put yourself on them. If they want it, only you mentor them, right? So I think I've learned that sometimes you can't really help everyone. You have to let them be. uh, I would love to help, but if they don't want it, if they think they know everything already, there is nothing you can do. So it's like I said, motherhood. I sometimes have to let my child fall to learn to walk. So for mentor mentee, also, that is the issue with youngsters. They find it very difficult to understand where you're coming from and why you want it in a certain way and why you wouldn't want it in the other way. So that is also a problem. But yeah, like I said, I think we all just learn.
Yeah, Hardik had mentioned in when he was on the podcast that there's so much of now there's a young crowd that has come into leadership as well, and there's always this tug of war between how we would like to do it and how they would like to do it. I think it is very positive in a way because there is a lot of synergy that can be created, which
Yes,
was what Hardik was referring to. But also, like you said, there is this diversity issue also that they come in with they're completely different generation from us.
yes.
Yes. Okay. Any other areas of diversity that you see other than uh, these three we've discussed?
No, I think it's just generation and experience and those preconceived notions. I think a lot of officers also walk in by asking, "What do you think about her?" And they already give them a set idea. Oh, she's like this. She's not going to listen to you. She's not going to approve your things. And this is what is going to happen. So they come with that. And the first conversation is guarded.
Mm,
They are not leaving room. But what some of them fail to understand is that person's opinion. And I perhaps had to behave with her or him in a way because of the way that person behaved with me. I and you can, and like I and Ron can have a different equation, and I and Joanne can have a different kind of equation. But it has to do with both the conversation, both sides conversation. So I guess that is another thing. And this preconceived notion has nothing to do with young or old. Everyone comes with it. They'll come with their own baggage and they collect baggage from others and they come and put it on you. And you're just caught off guard because you said nothing. But the first conversation is only, it's off the charts and you don't know how to handle it. But I think
Ask you a
that is
question,
why I
Sunita.
like this place. Yes.
Relating to this point you said, right? This is a very important point. People come with preconceived notion and biases in their mind, and they already have a picture in their mind about you or me or anyone. But as a leader, you have to still manage, still talk, and still get the work done, even if
Yeah.
you know that they are coming with that biases. How do you do that? What would you tell me as a young leader? How should I manage such people? Because end of the day, it doesn't matter. Personally, what I think about them, again, doesn't matter, right? As a leader, I have to get my work done. I have to bring them inside the team. So how do I change that perception? Or do I don't change that perception and just stick to the job? What do you do in such situations?
So I do either or because I think every situation is different with everyone. So like if I talk about what I did at one of my radio spaces was when my drive time job, I had to ask her to go for a music launch of a Salman's film. And she was like, will they do my hair? Will they give me costume? Will they give me drive? And will somebody come along to carry my bag? All of that was happening. And I was like, I don't have time for all this. Neither did they give us any budget. We are on radio. We are getting a chance to be on, you probably get covered on Bombay Times. That is the max you can get. Oh no, but can you just talk to them on this? So I knew that I would not be able to get through to her, and I knew what was the requirement from the agency. I took my second best job, and she was waiting for that opportunity. She went, she was on Bombay Times, and that was it. Then even my drive time job understood that she's going to just find another way. She's not going to succumb to what is required. So sometimes I think the way to teach difficult people is by showing that I can work without you. You're not going to be the one who's going to lead this conversation. I am. And I'm my job, because I owe it to my company, right? I have to get the job done. So if you don't do it, I'm going to get it done in such a way that you will miss that opportunity. And next time you'll probably give it a shot, and think. In Toastmasters, again, like I said, a bag of people with bag of emotions, you have to keep understanding how. But the beauty is, I think we are a team. We are not I. So if my one person is not working, I can always talk to the other. And when I think, uh, I also believe that well, in Hindi, you say na sangati ka asar hai. So it's not always negative. We can also do it positively. So if four people are listening to you and four people are getting it done, the fifth person will eventually do it. It may take time, but they will do it.
You touched upon my next topic, that was adversity, right? Adverse people, difficult people, and how to manage them. And one thing that you spoke, the first lesson is sometimes you can't manage difficult people. So you have to just show them that this is an opportunity they are going to miss if they are not going to be a part of this team and part of this project. That's a very good point, a different way of thinking. Because in sometimes what happens is that we are taught you have to strive harder, be polite, bring them in, try to make them change. But in reality, is it genuinely possible to change every single person and make them this positive and happy and cooperative person just by talking to them? Probably not. But then one lesson I'm learning here is sometimes you just need to show them how it's done and what they are missing. And that's one way of managing adverse people. You must have met a lot of difficult people in your life, in Toastmasters, outside Toastmasters. You are from media, and I can just imagine the amount of what do you say, characters you must have met and held your title and held your ground. So can you give me like three top tips in and outside Toastmaster that you use to manage difficult people? One, I think you already spoke about. Sometimes you don't let go and teach them a lesson. and show them how it's done. What else are the tips that you would give for us to manage difficult people, manage these adverse people?
I think firstly, just listen to them. First, understand the vibe. You first, when a person is walking towards you for a conversation, no, you get that aura. You understand whether they're coming to fight, whether to complain, or whether to just have a chat. I think you can sense it if you just look at it. Look at their face, look them in the eye and speak to them. And I have a policy when they know that they've messed up and they know I'll shout, I actually don't shout. I make sure that I have such a decent conversation. I like to confuse people. So when they know that I'm probably going to blow up, I don't. And I make it a very casual conversation. I tell them what is to be done. And when they least expect it is when I probably am trying to teach them or tell them what went wrong. Uh, I think after all, people are people. We all get up not from sometimes the wrong side of the bed. Sometimes we get off from the ceiling, I think. It's I think we just need to be human and let them say it out, because after 5 minutes they will feel that what they did is wrong, and then they'll call you back, and that is when you can actually have a conversation back to them. When one person is shouting, you can't shout, because then both there's just noise, there's no conversation. So difficult people are always going to be there, and this happens even at home, right? Sometimes when you're talking, they just don't understand, and then somebody has to shut up and listen. And I just let them say till they realize that, oh my God, what she said is correct. That is better than me trying to shout and yell and tell them, no, I'm right, I'm right. So even here, it's the same thing. I think we should all cut some slack to everyone. um, I don't know what happened to them when they were on the way to speak to me. Maybe they asked panch rickshaw walas and all said no. And this is the 10th rickshaw she got by the time she got to me. And she's removing that frustration on me. I don't know. It could be anything. It could be because. So I think it's my job to first just understand what happened before she got to me, so that I can understand whether this is genuine or it's just off the hook. That much we have to give, because we are human beings for a reason. We have a lot of emotions in us. We are the people who have Navras. We can show all 9 emotions in one conversation or in different conversation. That much slack we should give, and that much credit we should give every person who's trying to have a conversation. At least they're having a conversation. Whatever tone they're having it in, you may be able to tone it down later, but we should at least give that space for conversation.
Thank you so much. Well, you know what I'm listening to here? The second skill you're talking about is actually communication, which we focus in Toastmasters, right? Two-way communication, sense and understand the people. That's about body language. Something to think about, right? If you want to be a great leader, you also need to study and learn about body language so that you are able to sense and understand what's happening emotionally in that person's mind. And then I love this. Confuse people. Don't give them what they want. Great tip as a leader, because sometimes confusing people may break that momentum and that stagnation, that's a very good point. And thank you so much for being so honest about it, not just saying ethically and politically right things, but coming and giving us these honest tips. That honesty requires a lot of courage, and I salute you for that, and thank you so much. This is a time, my dear friends, if you have any questions, please put them on chat and we will take them for Sunita. She is right now being very candid and honest. So don't miss this chance to ask your questions and keep that conversation honest again. Before we move on with the questions while they're putting it on chat, okay, let me ask you this. In Toastmasters, you have met a lot of adverse people, you have met a lot of good people, and you have your way of tackling them. Now, as a top district leader, you're the PQD right now. Has it changed the way you handle people? Because when you reach to the top, it's not just about getting things done. It's also about maintaining that image, right? You have to be politically correct. You have to be true to the IRSC values, and you have to prove that what you're doing is credible for the organization, because Toastmasters is such a huge, credible organization in the world. So it's not just about, okay, I don't like it, I can leave. No. Or like in a corporate sector, right? You can just put your resignation, you can just shout out and then think about it later. But in Toastmasters, what I have realized is there's also an image, a positivity and image that you have to maintain, not just for yourself, but for your team and your organization, the whole morale. So as a top brass, as the PQD there, how has this changed the way
Now,
you handle difficult
I would
things?
like to add, as usual, another question on the question is in the district. Are there enough initiatives for leadership that we are doing? What could we do better in the district in terms of grooming leaders? I know there are very interesting programs that your teams have come up with recently. I'm very happy to see those, including podcasts like this, the Wednesday Wisdom. You have that other program where you're grooming future leaders. So, but what else can be done? How can senior leaders help the junior leaders? What more do you see in terms of leadership for the district to do? I'm talking about area directors and above, maybe even club
Yeah.
presidents. And
Yeah.
just one last thing: is there any way we can improve the TLTPs from the point of view of leadership? Sorry, a lot to throw at you, but yeah.
So let me
Yeah.
let me cut it down for Sunita, because I think you're confusing her now. You're taking her type of confusion. But three questions to you, Sunita. Number one, as a PQD, how that leadership and the image, maintaining that image is important. So how has that changed your approach of managing adversity and difficult situations? That's the first question. Second question, what are the district initiatives? What are we doing in Toastmasters to groom the future leaders, apart from the ones that we are doing? What more could be done, or what do you think needs to be done? And third, how can we design or redefine the TLTP so that even at the club level, we have better, high quality leaders? So these are the three questions to you thrown by Ron and me. Take them as you like, and please be
Yeah,
as
and the
honest as
others
you have
can
been.
also please post their questions for Sunita. Right.
Yeah, over to you, Sunita.
Okay, so as PQT, what has changed? So when I was in AD, I was just talking directly to the club. I was still learning what to do. Then I graduated to division director. So my growth to PQD has not been like a shortcut. I've
Okay.
started from being SA in my club, from a secretary to a VPPR to a president, did 2 terms over there. Then I moved on to AD, deputy. I was also district administration manager, and then I came here. So it's a gradual climb. And as PQT, I think what's more different now is that I owe it to Toastmaster. I am not, uh, for me, I think now I'm the face. If I say something wrong, it's bad for Toastmaster International, because that's not what Toastmaster International want their leaders to be. I got the opportunity this time to join all world over leaders when our first trainings, when we went for that. And I met all of them, and I understood that how much they hold this, important, being in the top three, how they hold the entire idea of being a Toastmaster, and they're so passionate about being one, and the values and everything. So I came back with a lot of values and learnings and pride. So for me now, being a PQD or being in top three is like, I need to make sure that I first hear it out. I'm not going to talk back in a way that, is not correct, because their expectation also from me now is different. I'm no longer just a member. If they're looking at me, if, I mean, elected me to be the program quality director, they must have expected something out of me. So I need to live up to that. So that's the change, I think, what happens when you reach the trio. You need to keep the dignity of the entire fraternity and make sure that you speak well. Having said that, for leaders, what we are doing, like you said, we are doing a Wednesday Wisdom. We are trying to bring in more topics. We have Gurukul, which is happening, where we have around 39 members who have joined. And this time I am amazed to see how interested and how involved they are. Maximum of my kahani is done by Gurukul members. They are the CC, they are the timers, they are doing all the role play. I only brief them on Friday, and Saturday they are the ones who handle it. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, they must be here also. So they are very eager to learn. And I think we need to do more in this sense. I think we need to start talking to more people. I mean, time and again for the last 2 years, we've had a very less nominations for area director. I think what they look at it is कि अरे काम बहुत करना पड़ता है. Area visit, this, that, But I think every job will have at least little bit of job profile. That tick has to be done. Those work have to be done. But where I think they're getting scared is the current ADs probably are not enjoying it enough to inspire others to take that role. So I think somewhere we are at fault for not being able to instill that pride in them the way we have. Probably, they don't have it and they are not doing it and they are just doing it as a tick in the box. And when that happens, because they are the ones who are closest to the members, it's not us. If I think the fact that they are not enjoying probably their term, then there is no room for the members to get inspired to take that role because everyone has to move ahead. So somewhere I think our district training program should also be more where we speak to area directors more, trying to help them how to speak to members or how to be with them, so that by the time they leave, they are able to give me at least 4 names from their respective areas who will be interested to take this position for the next term. So I think training program for the officers need to be revised a little bit over a bit. I think this time when we had a second one, which was very nice, it was very personalized, and we got a lot of good feedbacks from our area directors only, because we did a very different round table kind of a thing, talking to each one of them and asking, what is it that you need in your area? What does this club specifically need? So there was a lot of back and forth conversation that happened. So I think we are on our way. And we are hoping that by the end of the term, we'll be able to get our ADs also feel proud to be the area director that they are when they achieve success together. As far as TLTP is concerned, yes, I agree that it has to be redefined, because we have clubs now online, we have offline, we have hybrid clubs, or we have annual XComs, we have semi-annual XComs. Annual XComs are always complaining, why should we attend twice? We don't want that tick in that administration for that. So our whole idea is to change the second TLTP training, which will focus on annual XComs, as they will get to listen and talk about more of case studies, probably from an annual perspective. We will also try to, we are also trying to divide the conversation from the trainer's perspective, as focusing on corporate separately and community separately, because those are two, again, different things to deal with.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is different. And I think online clubs also need that kind of a thing. And many a time, what sometimes leaders miss to show is, if they are new XComs, they don't show them how to use the club central. That should definitely be instilled inside TLTP for some 15-20 minutes. Make them log in and see how to put in their education level and everything for VP Eds, or anyone, to just show them the dashboard, how it looks, because many members don't know which district we belong to, or what is this region, what does it mean to be part of this. So I think a basic education, if we have revamped also VPPR, DPRM, we can, from that office, we can keep sending, did you know, that's on our plate too, to give them more background on Toastmasters. We're planning to end this term where every member knows a little more about Toastmasters, its history. And we owe it to it, because we are on the 99th year and next year we'll be on 100. So it's very important that our members know that they are part of such a big fraternity and be happy and understand it. So yeah, I think these are the 3 things, and I answered all 3 because I wrote it down.
Thank you for that very informative answers. I just want to follow up on this thing. Is one of our earlier guests had said something very interesting, is that in his club, he was of course talking about his club, is that they had a lot of success with linking the advantages people get in Toastmasters with their career success. And that's one. And second is selling the leadership to the next generation. So are we falling short in these two areas on connecting career success with what you can get out of Toastmasters and actually selling? Because I sit down with a lot of young Toastmasters from our clubs and all that, and there are many times they come to me asking me, should I take this role? Should I do this? Should I do the AD? I've been asked to do assistant something, assistant that. And at the end, end up just trying to sell them the role rather than saying, go ahead and do it. And I have to kind of convince them that there is so much value in that leadership. Are we, as a district, as all seniors, as the top leadership, are we not selling the values or the benefits of leadership well within us? We're not communicating the benefits of leadership, because I know how transformation it can be.
Yeah.
A person going from president to PQD, as you might have personally seen, could be very transformative. Are we not selling it properly to the rank
Adding
and
on to
file?
that question, we have a lot of add-on questions today, Sunita. So adding on to that question, I also feel, why aren't we able to inspire people, right? The need to this
That's
selling is happening because the inspiration is not there. And why aren't we able to do it as a community, as a district? And what can we do from the club to the top? What can and what should we do to inspire people?
And we don't want to put you on the spot. This is just a discussion, so it's
Yeah, this is your
yeah.
thoughts, your
Because
communication. It's
It's
your
not about
personal.
anybody's community. It's just as a
Yeah,
group we have to think about these things, right?
these things
yeah,
exactly.
and it's very important. And I think what you've asked is very apt. And I'll be as candid as possible because I'm against selling leadership. Like Joanne actually put, I have to inspire people to be what I am or to come to where I am. If I'm unable to do it, I've done something wrong. And I take that on me as a leader if I've not been able to inspire. So for me, I think selling leadership is wrong, but I need to inspire. So yes, we need to start telling them what are they going to gain, how are they going to apply. I think the gap is where they don't understand when they become an area director and when they're talking to four different sets of excoms, the kind of diversity, adversities that's going to throw at them and they're going to catch them off guard, how they can actually apply that probably at work or anything. I think the gap is where they don't understand how they can take this thing. Also, when it comes to career success, I feel like, most of the time we all join Toastmasters to become more confident so that we become better at work. But if you're already successful at work, you come here with another preconceived notion that I will fix them. So that is also happening. Um, I think somewhere where we are going wrong is, or where I got lucky is, I met the right people. So for me, um, um, I met Arvind. If I need to take up this position or that position, I'll always ask him, what does it, have? So he would give me complete picture. This is what is going to happen to you if you take this position. This is what you have to do. So
Arvind
I'm
Nair,
like,
is it?
okay,
Yeah,
yes,
that picture
Arvind
will
Nair.
be a little too detailed.
Yes. So he'll tell you exactly what's going to be expected of you and what kind of people who will be talking, what tone they'll talk to me, everything. Then I think Sapna, Hardik, for me, all of them brilliant, was absolutely um, great for me to look at them and see how they were growing, and they were so passionate about being a leader that I think I followed. Many a times what happens is sometimes we meet the wrong people again because you're not giving yourself a chance. Meet the other one. No, this is probably not the only Toastmaster. This person must have disappointed you. Why don't you try somebody else? And you have so many options. There are so many Toastmasters in that club. If one person upset you, doesn't mean that that's the face of Toastmaster. Try someone else. And we are all available. Talk to us. And I think there's nothing that a conversation can't change, but a conversation with the right person will change, not the wrong person. And that is something that I think has to happen. Members have to come forward and want to know things. Ask question. If you're not getting answered, we'll tell you who to ask, or we'll get you the answer. That's why we are doing this town hall also. quarterly. We want members to come and just ask whatever you want to ask the top 7 regarding district finance, if you want, or what the DPRM office is doing, or what is being done at the PQD office. We're literally telling people to come ask us question. That's your question hour. So we are trying as much as possible, but members also have to come. It's like we can walk half, you walk half. Probably we can get somewhere together.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy to see the initiatives you guys are doing. I'm very proud of it. You fantastic initiatives you guys are doing, and I hope you'll continue and build on it also going ahead. And you're right, we need to create more opportunities for people to talk at all levels, I think, right? Whether it's on online forums
Yeah,
or at
yeah,
the TLTPs or at the division conferences and all that. I think one thing I have noticed, if you don't mind, is organized mixer sessions are not done. Usually in business, we have these mixers, business mixers. We usually end up
yeah,
giving each other cards,
yeah.
and what we call networking in a way.
Yes.
But here, networking is what happens is that, okay, lunch break, time for networking. Everybody goes to their club group and sits with their club group. Nobody cross talks with anybody. Yeah, there might be a few people like me who knows 10 different people. They might chat here and there. But we don't have a mechanism where somebody would be free to approach me in the middle of a conference and just have a nice conversation without worrying about whether it'll bother Ron or not, or something similar like that. I think that's
Yeah.
you hit the nail on the head. I think we need to have more communication flowing in all directions in the district. I think
Yeah,
your
but nobody's
initial,
stopping. Yeah, no one's stopping the members from doing that.
no, but there is a
Everything.
certain
Yeah,
hello behind the seniors. You are a PQD here. If you just came into the club, you don't want to go and bother the PQD. You might be thinking, what will I say? Something I'll say something stupid to the PQD. She'll think, what an idiot this
no,
person is.
I don't think I have
That
that
is the
kind of a.
perception. No, I'm not.
Yeah,
Nothing to do with you. It could be the next
yeah, yeah,
PQD or
yeah.
the one
Yeah.
after you. So so
No,
it's
I
it's
don't
something
think
where
when I sent my name to somebody saying PQD, somebody asked me back, what is PQD? So I think I'm in good hands where
there
I
you
have to
go.
explain, where I have to explain. And I had only put that because I was giving a piece of information of Toastmasters. Otherwise, I don't even put that, designation because that's not somehow I talk.
Yeah,
So
I think we have a
I think,
question
yeah.
from Saral. Can you take that, Joan? Can you see it?
Saying, why are the SAR and secretary roles so downplayed? Because he says SAR, the Zoom master, is the backbone of any meeting. Secretary is also important for everyone. And I think this is a very interesting point that Sarah has raised. Many roles are downplayed. And what happens is that if you are a new Toastmaster, this is adding to the point that you guys made about mixers and communication. As new Toastmaster, we don't have access to all these veteran seniors that you had access to, right? And unless there is a path opened by the leaders for us, we will never get to know and learn from them. Like, for example, I didn't know anybody in Toastmasters. Thanks to Ron and thanks to this podcast, I'm getting to know fantastic people like you, and I'm learning so much from you guys. But if I didn't have this opportunity of a podcast, I would still be in my Palava Toastmasters Club, knowing those 5, 6 people and just knowing the titles and the people related to that. So, again, as Saral said, many roles, many important leadership titles are not given that importance. And that's because we have not met interesting SARs or secretaries who have inspired us to see that this role is important. So, what as a district do you think we need to do, or even at a club level, we can do to change this um,
Yeah,
scenario?
good question, Saral.
So, see, I'll tell you, my home club is in Kandivli East, okay? No leaders used to come this side when we had started clubs, except for the demo meet that had happened. It was very rare. But I took the onus on myself. We didn't even know what was DCP. Okay, we didn't know that we had to achieve something. We were all just going on doing whatever we were supposed to do. That was the picture. We didn't have a clear-cut mentor or anything who was mentoring us. So even if they were assigned, they were not mentoring, or the AD was not passing the information. So I got to know that there is more than what you just do in the club. So if somebody else was not able to do that, I stepped down and said, okay, let me take area director role and find out what is exactly happening outside my club. So I think at the end of it, everything cannot be done by the district officers. As members, where are you? What are you doing? I mean, I joined Toastmasters to do something, right? Why are you forgetting that bit? I always write down why did I join Toastmasters and I put it in front of me. Every time renewal comes, I don't let the VPM come to me because I still want to do that. That reason that I had joined Toastmaster, I still want to be that, or I still want to continue to do that. And because of that, I renew before my VPM can come to me. At the same time, talking about roles, my um, I don't think any role is downplayed or unimportant. I think everything is, it's about how you look at it. Usually what SA does is, okay, mujhe to sirf, I just have to say where's water, where's washroom,
Hmm.
I have to say club mission, and I have to only do that. But why aren't you looking at the fact that you need to get creative in doing the same thing, differently again and again? Imagine a SA has to always introduce the president, right, for the presiding officer address. And it's the same president, right? President is not changing. But how are you focusing on that one point of that person today? So here's your chance to show how creatively you can do your role. What's happening in clubs is they're not downplaying secretary or anything. It's again because you're not taking the effort to go and see how others do it in other clubs. Maybe if you go see there, you'll know that these rules are not downplayed. It is really important for some other clubs. As members, I think it's also on you. Um, everything cannot be brought to you. You also have to go somewhere to reach somewhere. We cannot keep bringing the destination, pulling it close to you. You need to make that effort to make that journey, and it's very important. So I think Saral, it's only Saral to go and visit other meetings so that we learn more and understand that these are not roles that are downplayed, but probably maybe in your club. So we need to explore.
Wow. Like we are out of time, Ron, and I have to quickly wrap this up because there's a Wednesday wisdom, and I'm sure everybody wants to go
Yes,
there
let's do
and
that
be
quickly.
there.
Yes.
So uh, let me wrap it up, summarize. But before we do that, few last words, any last message for all of us online here and people who are going to listen to this offline? Leadership, your experience. Any last words, Sunita, for tonight?
I think as a leader, you can either choose to do a good thing or the right thing, and you're never going to make everyone happy. So just make an informed decision. Uh, you are a leader because you now have been given the job to make the decision. So make it. Somebody else will not make it for you. You need to find a way. And no better place than Toastmaster where you get to learn that. Because if you make a mistake, also you learn from it. If you get it right, again you learn from it. So yeah, I guess just take the decision, take the plunge, and start your leadership journey.
Thank you so much, Sunita, for that inspiring words. Take the plunge and start the leadership journey. Ron, last words, keep it short. We have a Wednesday wisdom.
Yeah, no, I think my last words is why do we have to have it only for 1 hour? So it was very
So true.
interesting. Thank you so much, Sunita, for your very candid, very open discussion, very sporting discussion. Whatever we threw at you, you were fantastic. Um, Thank you so much for being here. Really enjoyed
Yeah,
the conversation. Go ahead, Joanne. Let's go.
absolutely. Yeah, go ahead, Joanne. Now it's my time to summarize the whole podcast. And I
The
have
last
been told the
samurai.
summaries are very important. So let me try. So difficult to, especially when someone is so honest in their opinions and the conversation. It's very difficult to summarize that honest, intentions and emotions. But let me give it a try. So we were talking about navigating leadership, thriving in diversity and adversity, and what a wonderful conversation we had. 1 hour passed by, I didn't even realize. I felt like we were just starting up, just like the spark has arrived and the fire is just to blow, but we had to stop. So thank you, Sunita, for that wonderful conversation we had. We started off with Sunita's leadership philosophy, and what a beautiful metaphor she brought in today about a group dance. That's an artistic leader for you guys. She said, leadership is like a group dance. You may be at the center stage, but you have to focus on every single person, different styles. Some may even not know how to dance, but you leave no man behind. It's your job to ensure that everybody gets a role to play, however big or small that is. And your job also to decide who gets what role to play. So that end of the day, when the applause is happening from the audience, it's for the whole team, not just for you, because alone you cannot perform the dance. And leadership is like that group dance. What a beautiful metaphor. She says she values the IRSC values put in by Toastmasters. And now that we are approaching the 100th year, obviously there's a lot of power in these values. They have withstood this 100 years. The beautiful thing about Sunita is anybody out there, you guys have been told you're not sweet, you're not very polite, you have a sarcastic mind, maybe you need to change. Come and listen to the podcast or forward the podcast to people that you know, your friends and families who have difficulty handling people because they are not very so sweet. Learn from Sunita how to sting in such a way that you don't offend people or yet get the job done. And she gave a very good example of motherhood. What it is to know about that, go and listen to the podcast on Spotify or YouTube. One of the big lessons as a leader, she says, is you have to realize sometimes it may not work. You cannot please every single person. So tips of how to do that. One, know yourself and your limits. Know what you can do and what you cannot do. Then go back and find the relationship and try to mend it if it is worth it. And if it's not worth it and you really cannot manage, then learn the art of letting go. Very important. Let go of people if it's not working. In Toastmasters and even outside, you will definitely find people. There is no dearth of people, talented, hardworking people who will come and rescue you out of this. Ron gave a very good example of eggs. I'm not going to say what that is. Go back to the podcast and listen to that podcast. Then comes the concept of diversity. What a beautiful concept. If one of the difficult things of leaders is to manage diverse group of people. You have people with similar or different caliber and talent, age, ethnicity, profession, egos, and people come with a lot of preconceived notion and biases. But as a leader, what do you do? So she says the first thing you have to understand is support is very important. If you have a good supporting team with you, you'll be able to manage the diversity. And something you have to understand is you can't quantify every diversity that's there in the group, right? So what do? You have to simply learn to navigate, use the diversity to your advantage, learn how to talk to people, understand them, sense them, she says. And here comes that big tip, sense people, understand them, and then learn how to navigate through this diversity. Leave your designation out of the door. This is something that Toastmaster Arvind Nair has taught us, and she gave due credit there to Arvind. If you can leave your designation out of the door, leave your egos and titles out of the door and come to talk and find a solution, then diversity won't be a problem. But if end of the day, it is a problem, she says, draw the line very clearly and figure out how to work within the boundaries. Very good lesson. As a leader, you have to manage different group of people, but you need to know the objective is to get the job done. Your objective is not to please people. So draw that line, that boundary very clearly, and then try to work within that boundary with whoever is there with you. You can't really help everyone. That's the third lesson she gave today. Very interesting, because in Toastmasters, you have been taught to be helping, to serve, but truly, you can't serve people who don't want to be served or want to be helped. So she says, if somebody does not want to be helped, you have to just let them go. And like a mother, allow them to fall down and then maybe learn their lessons on their own. She spoke about adversity. Now, the very important topic, how to manage adversity. Interesting point. The way to teach a lesson to a difficult person is to show them that you can do it even without them. This is a very interesting point, my dear friends. In your club, in your professional level also, if you're finding it difficult to handle people who are being difficult, one, tell them exactly what you want to get done, and two, show them that you can do it even without them. That means you're then instilling that importance of the opportunity that they're going to miss if they don't rise up to the task. Very good lesson. Thank you so much, Sunita, for that. Then second, she said, again, communication. As Toastmasters, we are learning about communication, right? You want to manage adverse people, difficult people, learn the art of sensing and understanding the body language, something you can develop over the years in Toastmasters. And third, she said, confuse people. I loved it. Such an honest answer. Confuse people, especially if you know that someone is being difficult. Don't give them exactly what they're expecting. Because when you confuse people, you're breaking their flow. And then you get that window of opportunity to put down your point and make things work. This is also a part of communication. I loved this point. Finally, she says, cut some slack. It's okay. Everybody's human. We all come with emotions. She said, spoke about the navrasas, the 9 emotions. So you have to cut some slack and you have to give credit where it's due. And then remember, always communication is the key to manage both diversity and adversity. We also spoke about her role as PQD and how her leadership style has changed a little bit, because now she has to maintain the dignity, the what do you say, the face, the image of the Toastmasters fraternity, as she has now in the top 3. And she spoke about how she has changed that leadership style and what tips and tricks she has used. But I'm not going to give you that in the summary. Go back to the podcast and listen to that. We also spoke about what more we can do for leaders, whether it's as a district in the TLTP, what more initiatives we can take, and should we inspire or should we sell leadership? What an interesting conversation there we had. Again, go back to the podcast. If I give you everything in the summary, what's the point, right? This is a 1 hour interesting conversation and very candid and honest conversation, my dear friends. I don't think you get to hear such honest, candid conversations in your normal conferences or in your normal setting. So I love it tonight and thank you so much. Finally, she says, as a leader or as a member of Toastmasters, remember the reason why you're here. Right? We all forget that. We join with the reason and then you forget it. She says she writes out that reason every single time before she renews her membership. And remember, if you know the reason, you will also realize the onus is on you. It's not always on your club. It's not always on your leaders. You have to take the onus on yourself. You want to grow, she says, then do something about it on your own. You have to go somewhere to reach somewhere. So get out of your clubs. Get out of your areas, go out, reach, meet these great people who are doing great, fantastic job. One beauty of Toastmasters, I'll tell you, my dear friends, there's no hierarchy. This is not a corporate organization. There's no hierarchy. Please take that opportunity. Don't be scared. Don't be shy. Don't think, oh, how can I approach this person or how I can't. Just go, cold call, talk to people all around your clubs, areas, divisions, and even beyond district if you want, and learn something from them. Take that onus of leadership. And the last message tonight she gave is, remember, as a leader, would you choose to do a good thing or the right thing? The eternal dilemma of the leader. End of the day, even if you're in this dilemma, as a leader, your job is to make decisions. Sometimes you may take the right decision, sometimes you may take the good decision, but end of the day, she says, make an informed decision and ultimately make that decision and deliver on that. That's the final act of a great leader. And this is the best place to learn in Toastmasters, because if you make a wrong decision, that's fine. We are all here to support you. You're learning something. And if you make a right decision, that's even better, because you're learning something and you're inspiring others to learn from your learnings. So end of the day, leadership is all about decision making. So don't be shy about that. Wow. I have tried to summarize 1 hour of conversation into 2 minutes. And I don't think I've even justified it, because I have not been candid and honest enough in my summary. My dear friends, go back and listen to the podcast, share it with your friends and families, especially if you want to know the reality, not those sweet words, not those polished and packaged education sessions that you get, which are important, no doubt about that, but the reality of handling people, managing people as a leader. Go and listen to this podcast by Sunita, Vinod. Thank you so much. You have all been a great audience. We will be meeting again on December 13th, probably for the final podcast of the year, a very joyful and cheerful podcast with a very joyful person, but I'm not going to give out any more hints. You can guess if you are someone from District 98, or else just please be patient, wait and watch. Thank you so much. Go back, keep on leading, keep on speaking. Thank you.